Welcome to the coming apocalypse. Evangelist and pastor Paul Begley will take you on a journey into the end times prophecy. He'll examine current world events and explain how they relate to the end times. For decades, Pastor Begley has provided people all over the world with an understanding of today's world events from a biblical perspective. Now here's your host, Pastor Paul Begley.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Is the Antichrist among us? What? I mean, it's a question that I think has to be asked, and it's a question that has an answer. Brock Begley's here. He's producing today's broadcast. We're using the Fair Use Act so that we can show you pictures, video, read news articles, and other correspondence. It's all for a teaching purpose, to help teach you what's taking place around the world and how it relates to biblical prophecy. And of course, preaching, teaching the Word of God. We want you to be saved, set free, and ready to go. And if the Antichrist is among us, who is he? Well, get a cup of coffee. Matter of fact, Brock just brought this cup into me and he said, I tell you what the name of the brand is of that. I go, what? He goes, it's called Java from the Dark Side. I said, what? Where's Russ Dizdar when you need him? It's actually kind of scary. No, let's go right into this. We've got a lot to talk about here. Bring the Word of God in right now. Bring the Word of the Lord. Is the Antichrist among us? Is the Antichrist among us? And who is it? And of course, Walid Shubat would tell you, keep a very close eye on Turkey's President Erdogan. Others, of course, many people have said they felt it was the former president of the United States. And others always have questioned even the former Secretary of State. But I have to ask you a question. Many people have said they've always looked to say, watch the bloodline from the British Empire, and others say the president of Greece could be. And then, of course, the Vatican gets thrown in all the time, whether it be for the Antichrist or the false prophet. Some are even talking about that building developer, his son-in-law, out of New York City. There's a lot of possibilities out there, of course. The bottom line is this: we will know when he's revealed, and he'll be revealed at some point once the third temple is built. But if you look at the regions of the world that he potentially, and the motivation of the world, and there's some folks think it could be Kim Jong-un. That all of a sudden this peace and prosperity and peace and safety, that he might start becoming a celebrity, and everybody will be putting him on television, and he brings North Korea into the free world, and it becomes but could he be the third generation of Antichrist murderers of North Korea, Kim Jong-un? Just a question. And my answer to you about, is the Antichrist among us? Well, prominent preachers like Irvin Baxter says yes. Perry Stone says yes. Jack Van Impe says yes. John Hagee says yes. Jonathan Cahn says yes. Billy Graham said yes, and will be revealed soon. And I can say for myself, I had a vision from the Lord in which I seen the Antichrist. He was a young man in his probably early to mid-30s, and he was trying to work his way through a crowd of people. I was sitting up in a balcony looking down, and I could see everybody facing this way to the front. He was down on the floor area, and he was in the back, and he started to work his way through the crowd, making connections as he went, making eye contact and pointing. And as he was selecting people or acknowledging people in this vision, the Lord spoke to me and said, do you know who the 10 kings are? And I said, no, Lord, I don't. He said, then watch and learn. And it was as if the Antichrist was not in charge yet in this vision, but he was moving toward the front, and he was selecting or making contact or making connections with the 10 people that would become kings with the beast in 1 hour. Let's go to the word of the Lord right now. We'll talk more about this. I've got all kinds of information on it. Is the Antichrist among us? Are you serious? We're going to the word of the Lord right now in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, the rise of the New World Order, the rise of the beast, and of course the Antichrist and the false prophet. Revelation 13. Max, are you with us?
Revelation 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power.
Now you have to stop right there, because if you go to Daniel 7, you know it talks about the last 4 kingdoms of the earth. One is the lion, which is believed to be, I believe, probably the British Empire. One is, and from the British Empire, 2 wings are plucked off, and they go and they become a kingdom on their own where the man stands up. And I believe that's the United States. Then there's another kingdom that's of a bear. That would be Russia. Very powerful, ferocious, and does do some attacking and literally rips 3 ribs out. I believe that's 3 other nations that they conquer. And then there's a third kingdom, which is identified as a leopard. I believe it is Germany. And Germany, of course, rising in these last days. Certainly a leopard does not change its spots. And even though the Third Reich has been here and Nazism has been and gone, I don't think that I'm going to tell you the spirit of Nazism is still there. And I can prove it, because some people would say Angela Merkel could even be a part of the bloodline of Hitler. I don't know anything about that. But I'll tell you what I do know, that Zeus's altar, which was in Athens, Greece, was when the church in Pergamos built an altar to Zeus, they would sacrifice Christians in the belly of the beast that was on the altar of Zeus. And they even killed the leader of the church, a man by the name of Antipas. And Jesus Christ makes reference to this when he's speaking to the 7 churches of Asia Minor, and says, I even know, to the church of Pergamos, he goes, I know where Satan's seat is, even where your faithful martyr Antipas was killed. And so he identifies the seat of authority of Lucifer at that time was in Pergamos, was right there at the altar of Zeus. And of course, when Adolf Hitler got fully in control of Germany, he had the altar of Zeus brought all the way from Athens to Berlin, had it reconstructed, and then later had a platform built over top of it. And when he would stand and speak to the people, he was standing over the altar of Zeus, the seat of Satan. That altar is still in Berlin. The leopard is still in play, Germany. So those are in Daniel 7. And Daniel doesn't really need to tell us about Babylon or the Ottoman Empire or the Roman Empire, really, or some of the others, because they're really not effective. You'll notice he names these certain kingdoms of the last days in Daniel 7, and then it's in Revelation 13 that the same kingdoms are brought up, but they're consolidated into some kind of conglomerate. But the eagle's wings are not incorporated in there. You say, well, what happened to the eagle's wings? What happened to America? Well, America is flying and helping Israel. In chapter 12, verse 14 says, and the woman, which was Israel, who was being persecuted by the red dragon, by the beast, the seven-headed, 10-horn Antichrist, demonically charged empire, it says in verse 14, the woman was given 2 wings of an eagle. The Americans that she might fly into the wilderness, protecting her, giving her some kind of no-fly zone ability for at least 3.5 years, or times and half a time. So that's why when you're reading here, this is why the beast looks like this. The beast that I saw was like a leopard. That's Germany. His feet were as the feet of a bear. That is Russia. And his mouth was the mouth of a lion. That is the United Kingdom. The dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So what you're seeing is this consolidation of the part of a conglomerate of a new world order. And so this is important, folks. This is very important to understand. Is the Antichrist among us? Well, I don't think the Antichrist comes out of Russia, Germany, Britain, or anywhere else like that. Those are all brought in under the seat of authority. They're all brought in under this leader. And this leader probably comes out of the Middle East, or maybe comes out of Rome. Let's wait and see. Or he could come out of, there's one man that may be known as a great American, but I believe he was born in Africa. And there's been quite a bit of prophecy about that. There's a lot here. And of course, Walid Shubat will continue to tell you that it is Turkey who will have to manage the covenant of many. Turkey's part of NATO, and they're part of the Arabic Muslim nations. They have this unique position. Is it Erdogan? Maybe, but probably not. But maybe.
And his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Now there's your 42 months, or 3.5 years, or 1,260 days, or times and half a time. That is the 4 different ways. The Bible talks about times, and half a time. The Bible talks about 1,260 days, which if you take the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar is 360 days in a year, times 3.5 years would be 1,260 days. So the Bible talks about 1,260 days, talks about times and half a time, and it talks about 42 months. All 3 of those add up to the same thing, and that is 3.5 years. So there's something about this 3.5 year period here where things are changing rapidly. I'm going to look at it this way, that there's going to be rapid transition during the 7 years of great tribulation that comes upon the world. And so you're going to see, let me just tell you what you're seeing right now. We're going to talk about Kim Jong-un, and we're going to talk about, did you see what happened yesterday? And we're going to talk about in a minute. But we've just watched the Korean Peninsula that's been at war with each other since 1953, been threatening to annihilate each other. All of a sudden in one afternoon, they're embracing and talking about one Korea and denuclearization and peace. How fast can things change? Oh, they can change so quickly.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight.
Now you're dealing with the Antichrist right here, okay? He is confirming, you're dealing with the false prophet now. He's confirming what the Antichrist is doing. There's some people that say, keep an eye on Jinping of China, because he is the leader of the communist world. There's no question about that. And so there's and they're crushing Christians now in China. They're bulldozing their churches. They're making sure people understand that Christianity is illegal in communist China. They're hunting down the underground church. They're throwing the pastors into prison. This is the true qualifications of an Antichrist society when Christians are killed, when Christians are murdered. Well, we're seeing that not only in North Korea and in China, and the persecution of Christians in communist Cuba under the Castros for so many years, but folks, of course, ISIS and the radical Islamists, the jihadists who are going around killing and murdering Christians. And folks, this is real, what's going on. The beast is rising. Is the Antichrist among us? And if he is, then certainly the false prophet would be too. And does he come out of Rome, or does he come out of somewhere else that we don't expect? And did Kim Jong-un suffer the deadly head wound? What do you mean? That mountain that he was testing his nuclear bombs blew up. He blew up the mountain. It caved on itself, and the radiation is seeping out of it now. This is part of the reason this man is crawling to the world's stage, because he realizes he's done. And Trump had him surrounded and was cutting off the funds and was squeezing China. Folks, we're living in a time, I'm telling you, things are going to start happening fast. Look, the temple's going to be built. The president just declared Jerusalem the capital. They're talking about a covenant with many, a 2-state solution, or some kind of covenant with many. The Saudi crown prince is going around the world building a coalition along with Jared Kushner. There is a move right now, folks, and the Pope is trying to consolidate all of the religions of the world. Are you serious?
Men, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Thank you so much, Max. Now, the last guy on the planet that I would say is the Antichrist would be Kim Jong-un, because I don't think he has the capability of being that brilliant. But does he have the qualifications? He is an Antichrist, not the Antichrist, but he certainly is an Antichrist. I mean, Christians have been tormented in his country. Don't let these pictures of all this smiling and hugging and planting trees together, don't let that fool you. He's blown people's heads off. He's fed his uncle to 120 hound dogs naked and let them eat him alive. This guy shot his aunt in the head because she didn't acknowledge his power. He's had his cousins killed, his half-brother poisoned. He's thrown Christians. They've tortured them, hung them from ceilings. He has prison camps, death camps. No, don't go there, okay? He hates the Christians. He hates Christians. But he's not the Antichrist. He's just one of many Antichrist leaders who literally come against the work of God. So if we've had our Adolf Hitler, if we've had our Idi Amins of Uganda, if we've dealt with our Joseph Stalins, if we've dealt with several, the butcher from Baghdad in Saddam Hussein, if we've dealt with some of these Muammar Gaddafis, if we've had to deal with, if we're dealing right now with Erdogan, if we're struggling with some of these others that potentially could be the Ayatollah Ali Khomeini. I mean, we could go on and on. And is the Muslim Messiah also, or the Mahdi, is that also the Antichrist? Well, if you read the qualifications in the Quran for the Mahdi, they match the qualifications of the biblical Antichrist. And then, of course, there's the spiritual apostasy leaders who are trying to create a new world religion or a one world religion. I'm not talking about getting Christians together in denominations of Christ and just saying, look, we got to get along. We see things differently, but we're all under Christ. I'm not talking about that. That's Christianity. That's Christians working together. I'm talking about somebody trying to make all religions come together as one, excluding Jesus Christ from the picture. That is an Antichrist apostasy. And that is going to be the religion of the beast, the new world order. Before we go any further with this Antichrist discussion, I want to welcome all 1,000 of you that have gathered with us tonight or this afternoon. This is the question today. The Lord said to me, speak about the Antichrist today, show them the scriptures in the Bible, and then tell them about the qualifications. So before I even go into the rest of the current news events, I must take you to another place in the Bible. I have to take you to 2 Thessalonians 2. Now, Jesus said to us in Matthew 24, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand, okay? What we're dealing with there was what was referred to. He said it was the abomination of desolation. We know that that's the covenant with many, that it allows this Antichrist character, the son of perdition, when the temple is finally built. And once the temple's built, it's not being built for the Antichrist, being built for the Messiah, actually. The Jews are building it for the return of the Messiah. That's what they want. They want to be able to worship. But the Antichrist wants to steal the day. I mean, that's what he's always tried. Lucifer's always tried to steal the day. But let me tell you what it says is going to happen in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, nor troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us. For as that day of Christ is at hand. In other words, when you get to the last days, don't get nervous, don't get fear, don't be troubled, don't be shaken up over the revelation of the rise of the beast. For let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, the Antichrist, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. There's no question the spirit of iniquity is already working. We've just talked about several different ways that's happened. The wicked one will be revealed, the lawless one, the son of perdition. Who is he? Is the Antichrist among us? I believe so. Let's take a look at some of the other events going on right now. around the world, starting first with the earthquakes taking place in diverse places. There's been 38 quakes, and I want to share with you where they're at and how big they are. There was a 5.4 in Indonesia. There was quite a few smaller ones. There was a 3.1 in Texas and a 2.9 in Kansas. A lot of small ones in Alaska, although one was 4.2 right there. And there was a 4.2 in Tiakistan, way over there. A 4.4 hit Iwo Jima, Japan. And there was also a 4.2 in Chile, 4.6 Mexico, 4.7 Zimia. I can't say it right. And look, it's so up there. It's way up there in the north. There was a 5.0 in San Antonio, Argentina. There was a 5.0 in the Bouvet Islands. There was a 4.7 in Ecuador, 4.5 in Taiwan, 4.7 in Venezuela, 4.0 again in Mexico, 4.9 in Southwest Indian Ridge, 4.8 in Indonesia, and even Yellowstone supervolcano. There was a 2.6 there in Soda Springs, Idaho, shaking things up near that sleeping giant. Okay, so the earth is continuing to shake and quake, and the devil's back continues to break. And let me tell you what else is going on as far as other events taking place. Give me 1 second here. The winds are blowing at 383 kilometers per second. The solar wind did graze the earth. We talked about this yesterday, that we would be receiving this stream of solar wind. It did graze the earth, a weak stream of solar winds grazing the earth's magnetic field today. The gaseous material is flowing from the northern hole in the sun's atmosphere, but it's not going to do much, okay? It's not going to do much. But North Korea, here it is. You ready? North Korea and the aviation radiation. For the past 4 years, spaceweather.com and Earth to Sky Calculus have been flying radiation sensors aboard airplanes to map the distribution of cosmic rays around our planet. Our database currently contains more than 17,000 GPS-tagged radiation measurements spanning 5 continents and 43,000 feet of altitude. Yesterday, we realized we could use this database to investigate the current event in radiation leak in North Korea from that mountain that Kim Jong-un blew up when he detonated that powerful hydrogen bomb. It set off a 6.3 earthquake. North Korea recently surprised observers by announcing the suspension of their underground nuclear testing program. Geologists in China quickly offered an explanation. That's because Mount Mantap which sits on top of that test site, has collapsed. They blew the mountain up, folks. And when the mountain crumbled on September of 2017, on September 3rd, when he detonated it, minutes after North Korea's regime exploded this 100-kiloton prototype weapon, according to South China Morning Post, the China Earthquake Administration believes the collapse may have created a chimney that allows the escape of radioactive material. That's why Kim Jong-un has come crawling to the world table. That's one of the reasons. That plus the United States have him completely surrounded, the blockade and the sanctions, and then Trump took it a step further. He had already went around and built relationships immediately when he became president with China, with China, Japan, the South Koreans, the Vietnamese, the Philippines, and he got everybody understanding that there's no more appeasement. We're going to put an end to this guy's nuclear world. We're going to bring him to his knees. Kim Jong-un trying to prove that he wasn't going to be pushed around, detonated these bombs. And when he detonated that last one, he blew up his test site and blew the mountain up. He's out of money. People are hungry. He's out of gas, okay? And then Trump said, but I need a little more help. I got to leverage China. So I'm going to start telling China I'm going to put tariffs on your steel. And I'm going to put tariffs on your stuff. We're way out of balance in our export-import relationship with China. We're going to, and so Trump started to squeeze the Chinese. He knew then that China would go in and get the Kim Jong-un in a headlock. And it has worked, folks, brilliantly. And what did you see happen? Let me just check one more thing. Sorry about that, Brock. You've seen a change yesterday we've never seen before. 10 fireballs broke through the Earth's atmosphere. There they are. They came from just about every different direction there. And asteroid alert, we do have 2 that's expected today. They are 2018 GH5, which has no danger to us. It's going to miss us by 12.2 lunar distance. And 2018 GB2, which is even further away. It's going to miss us by 17.1 lunar distance. So no dangers on asteroids today that we know of, at least not right now. We haven't spotted anything else. So that's where we're at as far as these situations. Kim Jong-un, I mean, how does a guy go from being a tyrant to a teddy bear? How do you go from a tyrant to a teddy bear? How do you come crawling just across the border to South Korea? And let's just be honest, President Moon is being very gracious. He could be a whole lot. He could be arrogant. He could be pompous. He could be telling the North Koreans this is the way it's going to be. But instead, obviously he's a humble man, and is really using wisdom here, letting Kim Jong-un feel good and look like he's an equal, when we all know that the South Koreans could rush them and take that regime out. So you're looking at some of the great spectacular pictures of what happened this morning, actually. They're on a total different time zone we are. So this has been going on today, a very amazing historical situation. So North and South Korea, look at this. There's the borderline. They shook hands at the border right there. And then Kim Jong-un stepped over the concrete border into South Korea. And then Kim Jong-un led President Moon back over the borderline into North Korea. And then they began to have discussions, and there was like a military parade and a red carpet. They had lunch together. They planted a tree together. They put up a plaque of the historical moment. They brought their wives into the setting. There's the plaque signed by both of them of this historical moment on the 27th of May, 2018. And North and South Korea have also agreed now to complete denuclearization of the entire peninsula of Korea. As President Moon said, there will be no war. There they are digging a tree, planting a tree together, a tree of unity. The dictator stood with his southern counterpart in the first ever statement in front of an international media. They gave a press conference together. They embraced in a hug. They literally showed just an incredible amount of cooperation. This is to show the world peace and safety. My question is, though, will there be sudden destruction? At their first summit in more than a decade, the two sides announced they would seek an agreement to establish permanent, solid peace on the peninsula. Kim Jong-un and President Moon raised their hands in celebration after signing an agreement pledging to work towards reunification. And there you see them shaking their hands, signing an agreement to work towards reunification, reunifying. Now, does that mean these two nations are going to become one? Or are they going to be two different nations but cooperating, open the borders together and work with each other? How does this work? The declaration included promises to pursue military arms reduction, cease all hostile acts, turn their fortified border into a peace zone. Look at this. Kim Jong-un over in South Korea being treated with respect and dignity. In his first ever press conference in front of the world's media, Kim Jong-un said, "We are one nation. We cannot be separated. We share the same blood." This looks to me as if Kim Jong-un has surrendered, that he has surrendered. The pressure is too much. He said, "We are living with each other. We are brothers." The Koreans are saying they hope that the parties will be able to declare an official end to the war by the end of this year. Unbelievable. And this was all orchestrated by the President of the United States, whom the media said was deranged. The media said Trump was dangerous, that he had us on the brink of World War III, that he had antagonized and he had criticized and Little Rocket Man and all these other things. And they said they kept portraying Trump as a madman, insane. But what Trump was really doing was breaking Kim Jong-un down, breaking it, bringing. And there's no more coddling. There's no more appeasement. Obama's gone. You don't get to keep building bombs with the Iranians, because Trump is going to deal with the Iranians next. The party's over, dude. The party is over. And you can either come easy or you can come hard, but you can know this. It's over, okay? Remember, the president told North Korea, "I will destroy North Korea," or you can become a part of the world society. And so they made unbelievable history by crossing the border, each leader. This is unbelievable, folks. It really is. And I have to tell you, nobody saw this coming. If you was to say, well, President Trump's going to get elected and he's going to bring peace between the Koreans, and he's going to make Jerusalem the capital of Israel and move his embassy. He's even going to have these guys digging and planting a tree together, eating lunch together, having dinner together. Nobody saw this coming. No. It's unbelievable, folks, what is taking place in Korea. It's unbelievable what has happened today. And Trump will be going to meet with Kim Jong-un very soon. And it's unbelievable. So now, as North Korea and the South Korea and the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, and is this really truly peace and safety, or will there be sudden destruction? And so it's an amazing situation we're witnessing here. And I think you would think that the talking heads at the major networks would really start treating President Trump with some respect and recognize the accomplishments he's doing. I don't know why they haven't run. They should be running to give this guy the Nobel Peace Prize, literally. But Trump, as he's got the Korean thing now working real nice, he's already turning toward Iran, and he's calling out the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. If Trump could just get Mueller off his back, if he could just get Mueller and the Russian collusion, confusion, and the Stormy Daniels and all of the other stuff, if he could get all of this media garbage and lies and propaganda, if he could get the slime, if James Comey could stop the slime or get the slime off of himself. I mean, James Comey went on Fox last night, folks, and told Brett Baer that he was not a leaker. Brett Baer said, but wait a minute, you leaked, you gave unclassified information to a man to give to the media. That's called leaking. He goes, no, it's not. Well, what in the world? I mean, Bill Clinton didn't know what the definition of is, and James Comey doesn't know what the definition of leaking is. He's leaked, he's lied, he's laid down, and it's unbelievable what's going on in the swamp, guys. The swamp is unbelievable. It's horrendous what we're watching, we're witnessing. Unbelievable. Amen. I mean, it would not matter. You're right. If President Trump gave everybody $1 billion off the national debt and made electricity free for all people, they would still find fault with him. You're right. I mean, there's no, because we're talking about light and darkness here. We're talking about this beast that wants to, this new world order, this ugly deep state, the Illuminati that is trying to conquer the world, these global elitists. And so, you won't hear this preached in churches. That Clinton Global Initiative, Uranium One. I mean, are you serious? Uranium One and the kickbacks and the I won't even bring up Whitewater. Forget that. I mean, Benghazi and the Fast and Furious guns of Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch on the tarmac with Bill Clinton talking about grandkids and golf games. And guys, look, seriously, thank you. I mean, are you serious? This is insanity. And then Hillary and all of that and all the marching and the rioting and the media trying to create a race war in America and trying to create division among the people and the fake news media of the mainstream. I mean, it's just all so ugly. The swamp. We just got to pray, I guess. Just got to pray. We really got to pray. Is the Antichrist among us? I think so. Matter of fact, Billy Graham thought so as well before he died. The Antichrist will be revealed soon, who will cause great destruction and guide us toward the end of the world, according to Billy Graham. Before he passed away, followers of the Bible claim that all the signs are in place to show the end of the world, and the latest being the death of the world-famous TV evangelist, Billy Graham. Now, on February 21st, Billy Graham did die, and it was a big deal. He spent 70 years preaching the gospel. He started preaching the same year Israel became a nation. He died at the age of 99. But in his latter years, he began to talk about the coming of the Antichrist and the end of the world. Now, what I find fascinating, and I guess I should add this to my book, Reflection from the Land of the Prophets. If you get my book, Reflection from the Land of the Prophets, you know that I put in there several prophecies from different people about the last days. A 90-year-old woman prophesying in Norway, the Great Prophecy of America by A. Allen, the prophecy that was brought forth by Dr. Lester Sumrall of the End Times, the 7 Things for America, the tremendous 1973 prophecy of David Wilkerson. And there's prophecies from the Bible, from the prophet Samuel, the prophet Moses even, and several others. And several other, Oral Roberts, of course, with his Bibles that God told him to put in Petra, and many others. But I think now I probably should also add another chapter to that book when I print it again, and that would be the final view of the warning by Dr. Billy Graham that the Antichrist will soon rise. Also, don't forget the former exorcist of the Vatican for 25 years, the lead exorcist of the Vatican, and that was Dr. Malachi Martin, and his prophecy of what the beast, what the Antichrist would be like, how he would be demon-possessed by Lucifer himself. And even Russ Dizdar, Yeah, that's Erdogan there, preaching his gospel from the Quran. But you have Russ Dizdar, who will tell you that the Antichrist, whom he calls Homo Satanas, half man, half Satan, will rise and is already alive, and he also believes is in his 30s. So if all of these Bible prophets, if Irvin Baxter and Perry Stone and Dr. Jack Van Impe and Russ Dizdar and myself and others all feel and believe and sense and discern that the Antichrist is probably in his early to mid 30s, then what are we saying? We're saying that you're in the fig tree generation, you're in the end times, and that in the next few years, there's going to be massive change. Do you see how fast things are happening now? Korea may unify. It's over. The war's finally going to end. Quickly, things are happening now. Quickly, the British Brexit out of the EU. Quickly, Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Quickly, America's moving its embassy. Quickly, things are happening. And these things are prophesied, they're prophetically being inspired by the word of God. Also, quickly, technology is increasing. Quickly, the mark of the beast could be implemented. Quickly, you have frequency manipulation of people's minds, manipulating. Quickly, we've seen the training of these shooters and assassins and MK Ultra and the mind manipulation. We're watching the beginning of the pulling together of the beast. We're also watching the covenant with many coming together quickly. The rebuilding of the third temple coming quickly. You can see it happening now, and it don't take long. The pieces are falling, and a big one fell today. North Korea, South Korea, reunification, denuclearization, embracing. Are you serious? This is a huge, 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 huge moment. And we are running out of time. And we are in the last days. But you want to know something? I will make a prediction that this Sunday morning in churches across America, very few will even mention this event. Very few will even be able to see the pieces of the puzzle playing out in front of our very eyes, because they don't even look in the Bible. They have no idea that it says these things would happen. And so they just continue on with bowling on Thursday night, golf on Saturday, yoga on Tuesday mornings, financial seminars once a month, marriage counseling on Wednesday night, and on, and nothing wrong with all of those things, but I mean, that's all they get. There's got to be more. You have to understand, what are you going to do? Are you telling me the President of France's birthday is on my birthday on the winter solstice, December 21st? I have the same birthday of Emmanuel Macron of France? Really? Are you serious? Okay. Let me tell you what else is going on here. I'll come back. We'll come back. Let's talk about Gaza for a minute, because the protesting is still going on. It's in its 5th week. And today, there's been about 50 people wounded, but they're not wounded by gunfire. They're wounded by tear gas, okay? So there's 50 people wounded. They're continuing to march. They're continuing the process. They're burning the tires. The black smoke is rolling. And there you see a young man there who's overtaken by tear gas. They're bringing families out there now. They're calling this the March of Return. And they're bringing families out there and having picnics with the smoke burning. The families get together, they're eating, they're having a picnic while the tires are burning and the smoke is rolling, and while people are throwing rocks at the Israelis and petroleum cocktail bombs. And then what the kids would do, they'll get up after a few minutes of eating and run over to the border and start throwing rocks at Israelis. They could get shot or killed or anything can happen here. Then they come back and drink some more Kool-Aid. What? It's a family thing now. It's become a festivity. Everybody go out on Fridays after Friday prayer. We all go out to the border, create chaos. I mean, Israel using tear gas on the Gaza protesters, even though the United Nations is condemning the Israelis who are just defending their own border. And the Palestinian protesters, Israeli forces have clashed also in Hebron. One person slightly wounded there. So, it just doesn't end. Now, Nikki Haley, the UN human rights chief, is crying about this today, saying that Israel's use of excessive force in Gaza. Nikki Haley, though, is standing up and saying, hold on just a minute. Hamas must stop using Gaza children as cannon fodder. So once again, Nikki Haley standing up for what's right, standing up for the Israeli people, and blaming Hamas for bringing families out there, little kids out there, having picnics in a riot. What in the world's going on here, folks? The ambassador to the United Nations of the United States, Nikki Haley, also took ISIS, Iran, and the Houthi militants in Yemen for their use of human shields, and added that the practice had reached epic proportions in the Middle East. And Brock's showing you some of the comments and some of the pictures. Hamas must stop this outrageous practice of using Palestinians in Gaza, said Nikki Haley, particularly children, as human shields when it attacks Israel. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, told the Security Council yesterday at its monthly meeting on the Middle East. Anyone who truly cares about children in Gaza should insist that Hamas immediately stop using these children as cannon fodder in its conflict with Israel. This is an issue that transcends the usual debates in this chamber. It is quite simply an issue of decency. Humanity itself is losing when the barbaric practice of human shields is tolerated and unanswered. And Nikki Haley's right. She also took to task ISIS and Iran and the Houthi rebels funded by Iran and the gunmen of the Houthis in Yemen for their use of human shields, saying the practice had reached epic proportions in the Middle East. It's difficult to think of a more cowardly act, even for a terrorist, than hiding behind innocent civilians. Haley said, anyone who cares about the lives of the Yemenis and the Palestinians should demand accountability for the militants who exploit them. What about that guy, Mahmoud Abbas? Well, I'll tell you what's happening to Abbas. King of Jordan, King Abdullah II has told Abbas, I'm taking your citizenship away from you. The top 30 leaders of the Palestinian Authority are losing their citizenship with Jordan. What's that about? They've been citizens of Jordan for 30 years. They've been under the cover of this. King Abdullah, the man on the right, King Abdullah II of Jordan says, no more. I'm not going to let these Palestinian leaders have citizenship with me. That means something's about to happen. That means something's about to happen. It has to do with the Temple Mount. Maybe it has to do with the covenant with many. And Jordan does not want these Palestinians hanging on his coattail. He's cutting that off so that if the thing blows sky high, they can't come running to him looking for refuge. Because I'm going to tell you who's going to go running to him for refuge. It will be the Jews that are in Samaria and Judea, according to Matthew 24. They are literally going to flee in the wilderness. That's what it says also in Revelation 12. That's what this Revelation 12 on September 23rd was all about, folks. It was about the recognition, the proclamation that the beast is about to rise, the seven-headed dragon. And when he rises, he's going to persecute the woman, which is Israel. And when he persecutes her, she's going to flee into the wilderness. It's what it says in Revelation 12. It's what Jesus said in Matthew 24. And when they flee, Jesus said, pray that your flight be not in the winter, nor on the Sabbath day. And when they flee, folks, when they flee, they're going to Petra. That's Jordan. And Jordan doesn't want to be having Jewish refugees. He's already building camps for them. So he doesn't want Jewish refugees and Palestinian leaders in the same country. He's cutting them off. I got to say this, we're just about the top of the hour. Brock's reminded me that TradeGenius.com is doing a special, a spring special. And I promised I'd let people know every day until midnight, April 30th. He's running a spring special, guys. If you go there and if you sign up, I think he said it's 50% off. Plus you get a full free year of access to the numbers of what currency values are, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be real dollars and currencies in the world, whether it be stocks, whether it be, I can't remember what else. So anyway, if you want to get in on that, you can. He's running this special until midnight, April 30th, for those of you who are interested. I'll be right back. We got a whole lot more to talk about. Who is the Antichrist among us? Is the Antichrist among us? Well, I got a whole lot more to bring up here, way more to talk about, including Turkey wants to buy brand new F-35 fighter jets from the United States, and there's 3 congressmen right now on the floor saying, no, we can't trust Erdogan. Why not? Is he the Antichrist? I have a brand new DVD entitled The Total Eclipse of the Sun. I mean, we have these great solar eclipses, the constellations in the heavens of Revelation 12, and many other signs that God gives in the last days. I have this DVD available at my website only. It's a powerful presentation of the coming of Jesus Christ and everything you need to know about his return. Get it now at my website. I have a book called Mark of the Beast, RFID, a powerful illustration of the last days. It is filled with biblical prophecy, current world events, and an end-time apocalyptic scenario. This novel will keep you on the edge of your seat. 18 things I wrote has come to pass, including that Pope Benedict would resign. Get a copy of it right now. It's amazing. Mark of the Beast at my website. Folks, let me tell you something. I have a book I really recommend you should get. You go to my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. I have a book entitled The Zombie Apocalypse. Now, it has to do with 35 actual accounts of demonic possession and manifestations that is very troubling, but will help you understand how demon spirits actually work in these last days. I highly recommend you get it also for your teens and college students to help explain to them the pitfalls to not fall into these sorcery or witchcraft seances, Ouija boards, or some video games that could alter the mind and the soul of your child. Again, this book, it's only at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. There you'll find it on the products page. It'll be a blessing to you, insightful, and you'll bless the ministry. A brand new DVD, Rapture Ready. Finally, we're going to answer the question millions of people want to know. What is the rapture? When is the rapture? And am I ready for the rapture? Well, this brand new DVD is filled with information, scripture, a PowerPoint presentation that will help you prepare to be rapture ready. We're living in those days. Are you ready to meet the Lord? Get this DVD now at my website. Heidi Begley's got a brand new book called Finding My Father. Heidi, this is a miracle journey, isn't it? A miracle how you found your father.
A journey just full of miracles. He left when I was 3 months old. Found him again when I was 30 years old, and it's just miracle after miracle.
It's a page turner, it's a tear jerker, and I guarantee it will change people's lives. So get a copy of her book right now at my website.
Our society is moving towards Marxism.
Because of what we did on this day, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
Our revolution now becomes your revolution.
Something's wrong, and we all know it. I'm Charlie Daniels, and I'm here to tell you about it.
The nation has been hijacked by international forces. The dark side, bent on global governance. Alex Jones.
What is the goal? It is to create a one-world government. It's as old as time itself.
Authoritarian officials with jackboots could say, "Your papers, please," and stop you and demand to see your ID.
The Department of Homeland Security issued a declaration to all law enforcement, state, local, and federal, saying that the future threats to America were right-wing Christian groups, Second Amendment groups, pro-life groups,
Wake up, America.
and returning veterans.
While you still have time.
Just think of this country again as one nation under God. America with borders, a nation of patriots who are proud of our heritage, our achievement.
Now it remains necessary for all Americans to draw such a line in the sand.
It's time to ride, boys. We need 1,000 Paul Revere's.
RevelationTheMovie.info.
No is a powerful concept.
A brand new book I've just finished called Reflections from the Land of the Prophets. This book is filled with beautiful pictures, a pictorial, if you will, of the Holy Land, and some definite great insight to the prophets that once spoke mightily in the times leading us up to the present. It's a prophetic word, a reflection of what God has spoken, not only historically from the past, but for the future. Go to my website. It's available now. To the present. It's a perfect. Are you serious? Are you serious? Welcome back. Hour number 2. Is the Antichrist among us? And some people think it could be Alexis Tsipras, who is the president of Greece. Matter of fact, when he became president, the first thing he did, went straight to Rome to meet with the Pope for 4 hours to talk about Middle East peace and talk about different things that he wanted to discuss. And a lot of folks thought that meant that he could potentially be one. Others say, it could be one of the heirs of the British Empire, that there could be the bloodline. And you've heard Prince William mentioned, I'm sure, many times. Other people think Barack Obama would be the Antichrist and still believe that he will return into power, maybe at some juncture, maybe as the Secretary General of the United Nations. Other folks have kept a close eye on Erdogan of Turkey, especially Walid Shubat, who has almost virtually declared he will be the Antichrist. He said if he's not, it's somebody coming out of that region. Others say, well, wait a minute, what about the Pope of Rome and St. Malachi's prophecy? This is the last pope, according to the prophecy of St. Malachi, not necessarily that prophecy is correct. And then, of course, others have said that it could be the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, or one of the next leaders from Iran, because they want to fight and destroy Jerusalem and blow up the holy city, and they want to take on, and they want to blow up Mecca, basically, if they could, I guess, and change the face of Islam. Others say, no, keep an eye on Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, as he's already seemingly working on the covenant with many. And others would say, no, it's Jared Kushner, since he owns the 666 building in New York and he's working on the Middle East peace deal. And others would say, no, 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 don't forget some of these other world leaders and potential candidates. And then there's the other possibility, folks, that it's none of the current world leaders, but somebody in the back working his way to the front. Who could it be? That's the vision I had. A young man, early to mid-30s, working his way to the front and identifying people as he went. I'm standing up in a balcony looking down on this crowd of dignitaries, diplomats, and the man I see, I can only see him from behind. I can only see the back of their heads. And as he's pushing and working and squirming, trying to get to the head of the line, trying to get into the front of the crowd. But he's identifying people as he goes, making eye contact, pointing at them. And the Lord speaks to me in this vision and says to me, do you know who the 10 kings are? And of course, my answer to the Lord right then in the dream was, no, I don't. He said, watch and learn. And so I knew this was the Antichrist trying to go to the front of the line. My question is the Antichrist among us? Billy Graham said, yes, and will be revealed very soon. And he said that about 2 years before his death. There's even prophecies that at the death of Billy Graham, it would send the world into a new age or a new era. Others have said that, yes, Dr. Jack Van Impe says, yes, the Antichrist is alive. He's probably in his 30s. Perry Stone has said the same thing. Irvin Baxter says the exact same thing. John Hagee even says the same thing. And many other biblical scholars, Jonathan Cahn, says the same thing. I am saying that's what I saw in a vision. It could be, unless the vision was not for right this moment, but that the Lord was showing me how it was going to happen. But I kind of felt in my spirit that it was right now. One thing we know for sure, the son of perdition will be revealed. And when he's revealed, it's when he walks into the third temple in Jerusalem. And while people are worshiping God, he will tell them he is God. And that day is coming. And how close are we to the building of that third temple? It's already pre-built in storage. And they've already moved the golden menorah to the top of Mount Zion for you can stand there and look and see the Temple Mount. And if you go into the Canadian building, you can go to the top of the Canadian Trade Center, whatever they call it. You go to the top of it and it sits right there overlooking the Temple Mount. And right up there with you is a model, that model right there of the third temple in a bulletproof glass. What is that doing there? That's on top of the Canadian government building. And then recently, when I was down in Dallas visiting with Irvin Baxter, which I highly respect. Irvin Baxter, I'm sitting in his office and he shows me the coin. He hands me the silver coin, the Trump temple coin with Trump and King Cyrus on the cover and the temple on the back, and it's heavy and it's made of silver, and there's only 1,000 of those that were minted, and somebody bought one and gave it to Irvin Baxter as a gift. Baxter says to me, they're getting ready to build this temple. And when I think about these things, so you know what he did? He bought the 12th floor of a building within eye distance of the Temple Mount. So he bought this 12th floor. He has set it all up as offices that he has in Jerusalem. He said the Lord told him to prepare for the end times. So he bought the floor, remodeled it, and is putting up desks and getting prepared for whenever things begin to really heat up. When the temple starts to go up, he's going to have people prepared for the events that's going to take place, to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. You have to understand, folks, Rabbi Yehuda Glick, which was nearly assassinated, shot 4 times point blank, should have died in the cobblestone streets of Jerusalem in front of the Menachem Begin Conference Center. He didn't die. leading advocate for the rebuilding of the Third Temple, saw my YouTube video asking people to pray for him, contacted me and wanted to meet. Told me that he couldn't believe that an evangelical preacher would care enough about him being a Jew and being an activist for the rebuilding of the Third Temple. Why did I care? I said, because that's the love of Christ in us. He said, you are my friend for life. And after interviewing him 4 times, and going to be interviewing him again here real shortly, he's even agreed in the fall that he will come and speak one night to our tour group. So if you go with me to Israel in October, you will get to personally meet Rabbi Yehuda Glick, and he will speak one night. So we'll tour during the day and have Bible prophecy at night. Different speakers, Messianic Rabbi Zeb Parat will speak, Messianic Rabbi Stephen Ben-Dadoun will speak, I will speak, and even one night Yehuda Glick will speak. You will get a Bible prophecy conference in Jerusalem while touring the Holy Land in the 70th year of Israel as a nation. Now, I mean, a lot of you folks have talked about going to Israel someday. I got to go someday. One of these days I'm going to go. This might be one of those days. I'm just going to throw it out there. And here's a question for you. Is the Antichrist among us? Well, before I try to answer that question and talk about you guys, and I just threw out a bunch of theories. You guys have heard these, and a few other people have been mentioned. The false prophet, the Pope, different people. But the question is this, and Dr. Malachi Martin, in that interview on Coast to Coast in 1997 or 8, I can't remember, by Art Bell, I've got that interview on my YouTube channel. You can go watch it. I play it for you. It's incredible how he talks about how the Antichrist will become possessed with Lucifer, and he will be able to solve insuperable problems. He will be able to do magnificent things, lying signs and wonders. And these are all part of the end times that are happening right now. Meanwhile, other things keep happening that inches the beast closer. And let's start with some of them. Let's talk about, first, go to China. A knife attack occurred. A man killing 7 children and wounding 12. And I noticed the numbers. 7 dead, 12 wounded. Very, very strong biblical numbers here. What in the world was going on? Well, a man with a knife killed 7 school children, wounded 12 others as they were returning home from school in northern China. The suspect, reportedly a 28-year-old man, was detained. The injured children have received treatment today. This happened today. The attack was one of the deadliest rampages in the country in recent years. It took place there in China. The suspect had studied at the same school as a child where he had been bullied. He returned to kill the children. Attacks, he didn't do it in the school though. He did it outside as the kids were walking home. In January of 2017, another man with a knife stabbed and wounded 11 children at a kindergarten. And in February of 2016, another man with a knife wounded 10 children in southern island of Providence there of China. And in June of last year, a bomb blast blamed on a mental health disordered individual. A bomb blast killed 8 people and injured dozens outside of a kindergarten. That was blamed on a 22-year-old introvert with mental disorder. It's the demons are loose, but maybe they should ban knives in China. Maybe there should be legislation passed. Knives sound like they're quite dangerous there. Maybe they should, knife control should be what they do. You see what I'm saying about the ignorance of liberalism, the left? Do you understand? It's not the knife, it's not the gun, it's not the bomb, it's the evil in the hearts of men. And it's crazy, some of the things that we see going on, but it does go on. It's the last days. Speaking of the last days, did you hear President Donald Trump is, he's planning on He's planning on going to London. He's been told not to come to London, stay away from London. The mayor of London has cursed Trump and has told him that if he was to come to London, he's not welcome there. We won't accept you here. And he said that he will create a massive chaos if Trump shows up in London. Well, Trump has said, I'm coming to London on Friday the 13th. What? It's the truth. July 13th, 2018, the President of the United States, he's already going to be in Europe for a conference. He's decided to just swing by London for a day, and he's going to defy all the curses. He's going to defy all the superstition, all the hexes, all the witches, all the warlocks, all the wizards, all the radical Islamists, all the haters, and he's going to go there, and he's going to do it on Friday the 13th of July. What? London mayor said he will use an open and diverse city and has chosen hope over fear. But he's going to bring all this fear and anger and rioting and hatred and all that to Trump. The London mayor issued a warning with this peaceable religion he has to the United States president after it was announced that he will officially visit the United Kingdom for the first time in July. The mayor of London, Mayor Khan, has called for protesting against Trump. And the trip will take place Friday the 13th after President Trump stops off in Brussels for a summit with NATO leaders. Mr. Khan, the mayor of London, who has clashed repeatedly with him on several occasions, issued a thinly veiled warning that he will face angry protesters if he comes to London. The mayor tweeted, if he comes to London, President Trump will experience an open and diverse city that has always chosen unity over division and hope over fear. He will also, no doubt, see that Londoners hold their liberal values of freedom of speech very dear. The London mayor has repeatedly said that U.S. President should not get a state visit when he comes, and the pair have fallen out repeatedly online. Now, Theresa May is the prime minister. She decides if the president has a state dinner or not. She decides. She's the one offering the invitation. This guy just needs to take care of his city, okay? Just take care of your city. And you got a lot of problems. You got migrant issues. You got people being beheaded. You got no-go zones. You can just ask the people that live in London. They're very frustrated, very upset with this guy, what he has done. Well, later on, a spokesperson for Khan said that President Trump had taken the mayor's words out of context, but the president tweeted again, calling it a pathetic excuse. And Mr. Khan said that the abuse he's got online has got even worse since he started fighting with President Trump. Well, duh, dude. Well, duh. Quit fighting with the president and things would probably be better. I mean, what are you doing? Anyway, it's just it's just the same stuff all the time. I just don't know. Just the disrespect. What are they going to do, guys, if the Supreme Court rules in late June that the travel ban is constitutionally acceptable, and Trump then decides, all right, then we're going to implement this travel ban for those 7 nations, 2 of which are not Muslim nations, Venezuela and North Korea. But the other 5 are predominantly Muslim, but it's not about that. All 7 of those countries have been completely unstable, filled with war and chaos. So, Trump's just trying to figure out a way to protect our country, slow down a lot of stuff. Oh, by the way, there's some other stuff going on here. I got to share this with you. There was a terrible crash. I don't know if you guys knew this. If those of you in California probably do. In Beverly Hills last night, 2 women were killed and 4 others were injured. I mean, this was an insane. This car must have just rolled. 2 women are dead. 4 others were ejected from the vehicle in a high-speed drunken crash in Beverly Hills. The women were driving east on South Santa Monica Boulevard in Beverly Hills just before about 1:30 a.m. in the morning when the white BMW SUV somehow clipped a palm tree and flipped over, landing heavily on the vehicle's roof. Authorities say several of the women were ejected from the car. It is very unfortunate, tragic accident, according to the police there in Beverly Hills. The women were all in their 20s. They suffered a range of minor to critical injuries. It's not clear where the women were coming from or where they were going, but it was a high speed. The woman driving was drunk, and it was just a horrible scene. And that's just one scene played out in one city, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica Boulevard. Sure, everybody's heard of that, but what we're dealing with here is an epidemic around the world, really, of recklessness that unfortunately can end in tragedy. 3 U.S. senators, though, are going to try to prevent some tragedy. They have today moved to block Turkey from buying F-35 fighter jets. According to reports, 3 U.S. senators have introduced a measure today, or actually they did last night, aimed at blocking the transfer of Lockheed Martin's F-35 Joint Strike Fighter jets to Turkey. Turkey is a NATO ally and one of 9 partner nations involved in producing high-tech radar evading aircraft. But Turkey has been calling for a destruction of Israel and attacking of Israel. You're not supposed to do that if you're part of NATO. So Trump's trying to deal with this guy, but this guy wants to spend his time with the Iranians and some of the others as part of that team Gog and Magog. Well, anyway, the bill by Republicans James Lankford and Thom Tillis and Democrat Jeannie Shaheen comes at a time of deteriorating relations between the United States and Turkey, which supported the fight against Islamic State, but has become increasingly worried about U.S. backing for Kurdish fighters in North Syria. So we're back to the Kurds again. It's about, again, Turkey hates the Kurds. And because the United States supports the Kurds, Turkey's mad at the United States. And because the United States supports Israel, Turkey's mad about the United States. Do you remember when Erdogan came to Washington? You remember there was a fight broke out between Erdogan's bodyguards and this got ugly, and somebody got beat up really bad, and I don't know if somebody got shot or not or whatever happened. It was really chaotic, and it was on film, and they just beat some people half to death. They beat some protesters half to death there in the streets. We're supposed to be friends, right? We're supposed to be on the same team here. Now, these 3 senators are introducing this bill, have issued expressing concern that Turkish President Erdogan has embarked on a path of reckless government and disregard for the rule of law. Turkey's strategic decisions, regrettably, fall more and more out of line with, at times, in contrast to U.S. interests. These factors make the transfer of sensitive F-35 technology and cutting-edge capabilities to Erdogan's regime increasingly risky. Why? Because they're part of Team Gog and Magog. And the Turkish embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Erdogan declared a state of emergency in Turkey following the attempted coup on his regime back in July of 2016. Since then, he has detained tens of thousands of people, executed thousands of them, cracked down on dissidents, and carried out purges in his military and his bureaucracy. He charges that followers of the U.S.-based cleric were behind the coup attempt. One cleric living in a secluded mountain in Pennsylvania caused the coup? Are you serious? What are you smoking over there, Erdogan? Erdogan has been a key U.S. ally in the fight against ISIS. That's not true. He bought the oil from ISIS that ISIS was stealing from the Kurds. And then his son was buying it for 10 cents on the dollar while Erdogan was dropping bombs down on the Kurds, while ISIS would run around chopping people's heads off. That's what, and John Kerry was sitting in a bunker somewhere in Damascus, Syria, watching everything going on. He told her by that. He didn't know there was a mic recording him. He said, we've been watching ISIS. We've been letting them go. We've been watching them, hoping they would get rid of Assad. This is all documented. You never hear about this stuff. It was all documented. I've heard the video. I've actually watched and heard the conversation that John Kerry had with these people down in the bunker in Damascus, Syria. Anyway, should we sell these fighter jets to Turkey, or should we put them on hold, put them on suspension, and wait and see what's going on here? Is the Antichrist among us? And if he is, then how much time does that leave left? Now, I don't know the day nor the hour that the Lord's coming. Matter of fact, no one does. But you can see the day approaching. You can understand that the biblical prophecies are coming to pass. And you certainly know you're living in the last days. But there may be some of you watching here this afternoon who are not saved and are thinking you've got plenty of time, or thinking that the world will actually just end up getting better somehow, or that there's going to be something. There's going to be some great things happen. There is going to be some brighter days, but ultimately, you have to understand the beast will rise. Give your life to Jesus Christ and let him come into your heart. And here, look, you don't have to fear. Remember what Paul said in 2 Thessalonians? For the Lord hasn't given us a spirit of fear, folks, but a love, power and love and a sound mind. Look, the Lord hasn't appointed us unto wrath. We're not going to experience the wrath of God, the punishment of God upon the planet, the destruction of this planet at some point. But what we are going to do is begin to see these troubles, the trials and the sorrows and different things taking place that certainly... Hang on, Brock. Sorry about that. Wait a minute. Hang on. I put it somewhere here. Here we go. Sorry about that. We are going to watch things develop. We are watching things develop, and we know that they're developing very quickly. People will say to me, well, maybe there's going to be peace. I mean, we come so close. We thought for sure something was going to break loose. A lot of folks did. When America and the British and the French, we fired those 105 missiles into Syria, and Russia was warning us, you better not do it or we'll shoot your planes down. And Iran was ranting and raving. Everybody got nervous. It did look, it was dangerous. But now all of a sudden, that seemed to cool down, and now North Korea is thinking about peace and safety. Maybe everybody feels like now they got plenty of time. That's when the sudden destruction comes. Are you saved? I want to pray with you. If you want to be saved, just type, I want to be saved, in one of these chat rooms. Periscope, you can text it. New live stream, you can type it right now. At my website, type I want to be saved. YouTube, this is your moment. You can do this. Type I want to be saved.
Well, it couldn't be so simple to gain eternal life. Nothing ever come this easy. In this world, he'd pay the price. Now something good comes along.
I'll write your name down.
I'd be a fool to pass it up.
Let's get saved. You know what? Let's get saved. I'm going to pray for all the offerings and bless all the church and everybody in just a few minutes. But boy, I tell you what, there are people that need to be born again. Born again. Make that decision. Is the Antichrist among us? And if he is, will Jesus Christ soon come for his bride? Will you be ready? Are you serious? Any day, any time. Nobody knows the day nor the hour. I just know he said, watch and pray. For an hour you think not, the Son of Man cometh. For what I say unto one, I say unto all, watch. You see, in the last days, because iniquity abound, the love of many will wax cold. Mary, RNH2, wants to be saved. Praise God, Mary. RNH2O wants to be saved. Mary. I just know that when the Bible says that 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one will be left. 2 men will be working in the field. One will be taken, one will be left. You don't want to be left behind. Plus, don't you want to have the joy? Don't you want to have peace? Don't you want to be blessed? Don't you want to have victory? Don't you want to really live and know you're right with God? Sean H. wants to be saved. Folks, pray right now. There's some people that want to get saved. I wouldn't go through another weekend without Jesus. I wouldn't take my chance on another day. Thousands of people will never wake up tomorrow morning all over the world. Thousands. I mean, the number's huge. They have no idea that this is their last day to be alive. Just like I wouldn't know if it was me or you or anyone else. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't expect it. That's why I got to be ready. Are you ready? Are you forgiven? Are you ready? Play the song again, Brock. Play it again. Listen, I'm going to pray right after this. Mary, RNH2O, and Sean H. both want to get saved. See, I know what's happened now. People have started to relax. You can tell. Looks like we're not going to fight with Russia. Looks like the Koreans are going to get along. We got time. The summer's coming now. The birds are chirping. I don't have to get saved, Pastor Begley. And then the devil starts to play with your mind, starts to tell you, well, maybe there is no God. Maybe there is. Maybe the Bible's not true. Maybe we ought to look around. See what the New Agers are saying. You just keep listening to the devil. He'll keep singing you a song. He'll rock you to sleep spiritually. He'll take you down a dead-end road and leave you longer than you want to stay. Are you serious? It's time to get saved. Church, pray just a moment. Intercede for a moment, because there's people who really are choosing the wrong road right now. I mean, they're turning and they're going down the wrong path, and it may be the final turn of their life. Come on, you can do this. Carol Lee Christie wants to be saved. Praise God. Carol Lee Christie wants to be saved. Thank you, Jesus.
About this man that gave his life, he paid a debt he did not owe. Oh, the greatest gift of all is theirs, and it's for free. It became available when he hung upon that tree. I'm forgiven. All my sins are in the past. I am
Some of you are really down and out, need help, need hope. Darren Smith in the UK wants to be saved. God bless you, Darren. That's beautiful. There's others. There's others. There's others. Break out. Break free from the devil. Break loose. Break through. Come to Jesus Christ. He's waiting for you.
Oh, my soul has never felt like this before. My heart is overflowing, gonna live forevermore.
This is your hour.
I'm forgiven. All my sins are in the past. I am forgiven.
Such a powerful anointing right now.
Oh, I finally can see what Jesus did for me, and I'm forgiven.
The Bible says the day you give the Lord your whole heart, He'll be found with you. Jesus said, in the world you'll have sorrow or trouble, but in me you'll have peace. You see, the peace that I give you is not the peace of the world. For the peace I give you will pass all understanding. It's amazing. Right now, Mary RN H2O and Sean H and Carol Lee Christie and Daryl Smith of the United Kingdom. They all want to be saved. We're going to pray with them. Plus, I believe there's many others out there. Thousands of you watching the archives. If God's speaking to you right now and you want to be saved, you pray along with me right now in Jesus' name. Father, in the name of Jesus, I know I need to be saved. I know I need to be born again. I want to be washed in the blood of the Lamb. I'm repenting of my sins. I'm confessing my sins to God, and I'm calling upon the name of the Lord. I believe that Jesus Christ is returning, and I don't want to be left behind. I'm opening the door of my heart. I'm asking Christ Jesus to come inside me, to cleanse me with His precious blood, and to wash away the sin of the world, to set me on a solid rock, because I want to be saved. I want to be redeemed. I want to be born again, because I believe, I receive Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I believe that Jesus died on the cross for my sins. I believe that He rose from the dead, that He ascended into heaven, that Christ is coming back soon and very soon, and I want to be ready. So right here, right now, by faith in God's grace, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost, in Jesus' name, I am saved, healed, I'm set free, I'm born again, I'm delivered, I'm saved in Jesus' precious name. Somebody shout right now, welcome to the family of God. Are you serious? What?
I saw a black man with a Bible and a sparkler in his hand. He was holding a tent revival and running a fireworks stand. He said the end of the world is coming, so you better get on your knees. Today bottle rockets 2 for 1, salvation's free.
Are you serious?
He said I quit my job at a big church where the milk and honey flowed to sell cherry bombs for Jesus in a tent beside the road. I ain't in it for the money. Most cars.
Thank you, Billy Night Train. I'll report that in just a moment.
On New Year's and the 4th of July. Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire and brimstone, Mission Temple fireworks stand. He said fireworks are dangerous, they can blow up in your face.
Are you serious?
Instructions, light the fuse and get away. These things are made in China, so it's easy to see why a man who worships Buddha ain't got no guarantee. Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire and brimstone, Mission Temple fireworks stand.
Are you serious? What?
When the trumpet sounds and the Lord comes back, I promise you one thing. I'll be a human bottle rocket and I'll go out with a bang. Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal.
Wow! Well, praise God. Are you serious? Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family of God. Mary RN H2O, Sean H, Carol Lee Christie, and Darren Smith of the United Kingdom. Welcome to the family of God. Your names have been written in the Lamb's Book of Life. The angels are dancing down the golden streets of glory. And they're building some new mansions up there, I guarantee you that. And I know there's others that got saved. Maybe you didn't know how to get in the chat room, or maybe you're watching this on the archives. But I know there's others that have also given their life to Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. And I'll encourage you to be baptized, to find a pastor, find a church somewhere in the community where you live. Tell me you got saved. If you need help finding a church or Messianic congregation or a pastor, dial the number. Send an email to converts.2016@gmail.com. That's converts.2016@gmail.com. This is the Salvation Station, and we'll be going to the Salvation Army in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's coming up. I'll be there two nights, May 4th and 5th. May 4th and 5th, all right, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. You don't want to miss it. Get signed up. Let us know you're coming. Go to my website, click on my events, and sign up and let us know you're coming. It's a free conference. Please do it. Please come and be blessed. We got some breaking news before I go any further, and we're gonna lift an offering right now. Well, if you want to give right now, because we're lifting an offering. But we're going to bless all the tithe and offerings that have come in throughout the entire week. I always do this on Friday, and it's very important. So if you're giving, there's 3 different ways to give. We have breaking news, though, on the Russian confusion that Billy Nitrin's put there. 3 ways to give. Go to my website is one way. Another way is just grab your phone and text the word give, and the number is 765-327-4200. That's 765-327-4200. Just text give, whatever the Lord lays on your heart today. I'm going to be praying and blessing them all. Another way to give is go to my website right now, paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's paulbegleyprophecy.com. Click on the donate button there at the top. Right there, click on the donate button and give whatever the Lord lays on your heart. If you have a prayer request, a special prayer request, or a praise report, or something you want me to pray about, put it right in that little box right there. And we're going to take the next 5 minutes as we're lifting this offering for people to give. And Fridays is a great time to do that. We bless all of the tithe and offerings that come in throughout the entire week. Maybe you want to write me. A good way to do it is just simply send a check or money order in the mail. You can put a letter in there or a card, or maybe you got a prayer request you want me to pray over. My prayer chest, one is completely full. The other one is almost half full now. So if you want to write me, please do that. There's the address. Just write me at Paul Begley Prophecy. That's Paul Begley Prophecy, 1048-B. That's 1048-B. 1048-B, Sagamore Parkway West. That is Sagamore Parkway West, Box 33. That's Box 33, West Lafayette, Indiana. That's West Lafayette, Indiana, 47906. We are going to pray over all the tithe and offering that's coming in just a moment. First of all, I have some information here, Billy Nitrin. There's a report just been released. Sean Hannity is the one who's releasing it. The Russian collusion confusion has become a collusion collapse. The House committee has just released a Russia report. No collusion. Members of the House Intelligence Committee released their official Russian report today, finding no evidence that the Trump campaign colluded with Russian officials or agents during the 2016 race for the White House. Their findings end a year-long investigation into President Trump and his senior associates during the election and beyond, in concluding that the committee found no evidence that President Trump's pre-campaign business dealings formed the basis for collusion during the campaign. There is no evidence that Trump associates were involved in the theft or publication of the Clinton campaign-related emails, although Trump associates had numerous ill-advised contacts with WikiLeaks. The committee also concluded that both the Trump and Clinton campaign exercised poor judgment in certain circumstances, but those actions were not intentional or nefarious. And that's basically the report. No Russian collusion at all with the Trump campaign in the 2016 election. Well, we knew this the whole time, but now we're getting the official report from the House Intelligence Committee. And so that's good news. I mean, that's good news. I'm sure, though, that it's not going to be reported that way on your mainstream, lamestream, fake news media. They'll continue. People need to get off Trump's back. And this whole thing, this witch hunt, digging into his life from 12 years ago or 15 years ago is ridiculous. We can't do this. Folks, there's nobody perfect among any of us. We're none righteous, not one. We've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. And the evangelicals know this, and that's why we're not taking the bait. We're not falling for it. We refuse. We understand that what a person did 12 years ago before they were saved. You just can't, look, you just can't keep going back and beating people up. I don't care who it is. You just don't do it. It's insane. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, we're lifting an offering right now. We're going to pray over all the tithe and offerings that have come in all week long. If you want to give, right now is a great time. And let me do something, it's just so you know, because we've got it up on the screen. If you go to my website right now, everyone that would like to go there, I'm going to actually click on the home page, and we're going to take a look at the banner below, the banner right on the home page. There's now 5 courses if you want to take in the Paul Begley School of Prophecy. There are 5. The first one of them is, well, let me start at the beginning. There's 5 courses. Let me start at the first one. One is called Communion with God, all right? Communion with God. Another course, Understanding the Bible. That's a great course. Also, Introduction to Prophecy. You're going to really enjoy it. Gifted to Succeed. This is to help you in discipling you in your Christian walk, and Experiencing God in a Small Group. These are 5 different classes that are all going to be available for you this summer. So the summer classes begin June the 2nd. The summer classes begin June 2nd. The deadline to get signed up is late May. We'll give you the exact date here pretty quick. So if you want to get signed up, now look, if you do this, and you might say, well, Pastor, which class should I take? Take any of the 5 you want to. Take any of the 5 you want to, okay? They're now all 5 going to be available. There'll be teaching on all 5 of those. And then in October is when my class will finally be brought forward, and that's called End Time Prophecies with Pastor Paul Begley. That course will be available in October. So this is a great, and oh, by the way, if you click on these banners, look at this. It'll give you the overview of the class. Let me go back here one second. Introduction to Prophecy. Let me do that. Introduction to Prophecy. Let's scroll down to it. Oh, I don't know. I can't find where I'm at even. Introduction to Prophecy. Where's the descriptions? They're supposed to put them in there for me. There we go. School of Prophecy tuition, small groups. No, I was wanting to see the other one. That's the wrong one. Hang on a second. Introduction to Prophecy. Where'd that go? Paul Begley, what are you doing? You're having your own technology problems. Let's see if this is it. Yes, this is course description right there. It's a 4 credit hours you get for this one. This course provides an introduction to the nature and purpose of prophetic revelation and its proper function in the body of Christ. Students will be inspired and challenged to be prophetic people of God. Some of the subjects included in this case are the following: the power and the perils of the prophetic, being a prophetic people, the song of the Lord, also prophetic foundations, prophetic equipment, 7 expressions of prophetic spirit, and others. All right, this is a 12-week course. You really would want to take that course. That's a really good one. All right, and it's really going to help you as you prepare to take the course that I'm going to be offering, of course, in the fall on end time prophecy. All right, so there's some really, really good stuff coming available for you in the Paul Begley School of Prophecy. Now, I really want to pray for you today. There's many that have given tithe and offerings and made donations, and some of you are even planting a seed right now in the middle of your need. And we want to thank you. I want to first of all thank you because we shipped a lot of Bibles and blankets this week. A lot of Bibles and a lot of blankets and anointed prayer cloths. Of course, we just come out of a conference in Canton, Ohio, and there was a lot of requests when we were there. Plus people, of course, send them in to Miss ZD. And so I want to pray and thank you for supporting and being a partner of Paul Begley Prophecy Ministries. We're getting ready to go to Colorado Springs, and we're getting ready to go to India for some of the greatest soul-winning moments, I think, in history. We really, really believe that God's going to do something mighty in those 5 nights of crusades in 2 different cities in India. But we're going to pray right now, because online there's been the greatest harvest we could ever imagine of people being saved. And I want to thank you for being faithful. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you, Lord, for blessing your people. We thank you, God, for touching them. Lord, as you know, many of these folks have given their tithe, their offerings. They've made donations, Lord. Lord, they've been faithful over a few things. You said you'd make them a ruler over many. And Lord, they've been faithful and been responsible in their giving. And God, you know the tithers, and we pray and we believe already. You said to prove you. You said it, Lord, prove you, and see if you won't open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing we wouldn't have room to contain. We thank you, Lord, for the love that the people have for the work of God. We thank you, Jesus, for blessing them going in and going out, making them the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, blessed going in, blessed going out, blessed in the city, blessed in the field. Lord, thank you for the divine protection that we receive when we walk in your commandments. And Lord, many people are thanking you for the Passover blessing. God, that things are already happening in lives and in homes and in marriages. And Lord, you will heal the sick, you said, and take away all diseases. We praise you, Lord, for that in Jesus' name. Lord, we have folks that are bringing an offering to you this week. They've given this week. Some are giving right now. Lord, and even up until the midnight hour tonight, God, we pray on this, as we enter into the Sabbath, that you would take their offering and their tithe and their donations, Lord, and even a seed of faith in the middle of their need. Lord, bless them and abundantly accept their gift of love, Lord, in Jesus' name. I pray for their families. I pray for their jobs. I pray for their careers. I pray for their homes. I pray for their children and their grandchildren, their marriages, Lord, their parents, their brothers, their sisters, their extended family, their friends, their neighbors, those that they have come in contact with, acquaintances they've met. God, may the blessing be upon them. They are blessed and highly favored, Lord, and we thank you for that blessing. Your word has already commanded the blessing, Lord. You've commanded it in Deuteronomy 28. You've commanded the blessing. So God, thank you for blessing your people. And Lord, they're giving because they love you. They're giving because of their faithful responsibility in the kingdom. And they want to see many other people saved, Many other homes restored and lives changed. Bless their businesses, Lord. Bless their companies they own. Bless different things that whatever they put their hand to, may they be blessed, I pray, in Jesus' name. And the people said, amen and amen. Are you serious, folks? I'll be back with you, of course, anytime something breaks, I'll break in. And, of course, Sunday morning, the Sunday morning worship service in Knox, Indiana will be broadcast live. And that starts at 12 noon Eastern, approximately. And Sunday Night Live, I'll be right back here in the Salvation Station for another powerful Sunday Night Live.
Available from Paul Begley, his CD, Wayfaring Stranger.
I'm just a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world below.
Wayfaring Stranger includes the title cut plus 11 other songs. Order yours by visiting paulbegleyprophecy.com today.
Secrets of the Sacred Incense, an unbelievable, extraordinary journey to find the apothecary, the mystical caves in the Holy Land where the sacred incense of the first temple were discovered. Come with me on a journey that will literally enlighten you to the truth of the last days, the biblical ramifications of the third temple, all in this powerful DVD. Get a copy of it now at my website. A brand new DVD, Zombie Apocalypse 2. I sat down with L.A. Marzulli and got a first-hand account from Pastor Casper McLeod. This DVD deals with the demonic spirits manifesting in the world today. The zombie craze has certainly caught the eye of Hollywood and movies and TV series. But do you really know what it is? Get the DVD. It's at my website right now. Thank you so much for watching the broadcast. I really appreciate it. And I'll tell you something, if you'd like to know more about some of our books that we've written, go to our website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. I've even got music CDs. I actually have a couple country gospel music CDs that were recorded that I think you'll really enjoy. I have 5 books that I've written. This is my newest one, Jerusalem Jihad. Jerusalem Jihad. This has to do about an end-time apocalyptic scenario that includes the rebuilding of the temple, also the 2 witnesses, and it's a powerful presentation, if you will, on how things are starting to come together here in the last days. So again, check out all of our books, CDs, and everything else we have, and your donations are greatly appreciated at our website. God bless you, in Jesus' name. Prophetic Letters for America. This 2-part DVD will raise the faith within you and this nation. From our founding fathers to our current president, America has been blessed with the power of the Word of God. You will hear some of their prayers, presidential prayers that each president prayed, and their faith of the Bible. You have to get a copy of this DVD and be blessed in the Word. I want to thank all my partners for standing with me, for helping us in the mission of leading people to Jesus Christ, for winning souls into the kingdom. Our live broadcast online, we're seeing 25, 30 souls every day accepting Christ as their Savior. And right here on this television broadcast, so many have come to Jesus Christ. We couldn't do it without you, but we can do all things with Christ. So thank you again for being our partners. God bless all of you.